In the headlines, one officer killed as gunmen set Imo police station on fire. Nigeria Labour Congress rejects federal government's reduction of gas prices for electricity generation. And in sports news, angry Barcelona fans storm training ground, attack striker over Messi's exit. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ayubelia. Thank you for joining. Here's the news in details. Gunmen on Thursday attacked Orlu Police Divisional Station in Imo State, killing one police inspector. 3 of the gunmen were killed in a gun duel with the police, and Public Relations Officer of the police, CSP Mike Batam, said the incident happened at about 9:35 p.m. He said the bandits threw explosives and petrol bombs on top of the roof of Orlu Police Station, damaging the roof and causing a fire in the station. However, Abatam said that the command's tactical teams on ground engaged the bandits in a gun duel, and due to the superior firepower of the police, the bandits were subdued. Governor Umar Zulum has condemned the EYN church demolition incident that occurred in Maiduguri on Thursday morning. The governor disclosed this during a meeting with members of the Khan body in the Government House chambers. He calls for calm and peace in the capital and assured that those found wanting in the incident will be brought to book. The governor also sympathized with those injured and killed during the attack.
Is to protect the rights and properties of its citizens. And therefore, the government of Borno State is not happy with what has happened and will never be happy. I want to extend our condolences to the family of the deceased and the injured, and Borno State government has directed the Nigerian police and GSS to immediately investigate the matter thoroughly and ensure that whoever that is responsible for that Stabile Act shall be brought into the book.
Now, the Vice President Yemi Osibanjo says the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic, security, education and climate change requires deliberate responses and special attention from the state governments in developing the nation's economy. He said this at the end of the 3-day summit of the 20th edition of Joint Planning Board and National Council on Development Planning in Maiduguri. The report.
The 3-day summit, organized by Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning in collaboration with Borno State Government, tends to facilitate solutions to problems of insecurity, humanitarian crisis, and COVID-19 pandemic, which has crippled the country's economy. The theme of the summit is managing the Nigerian economy for sustainable development in a challenging environment. Vice President Yemi Osibanjo said adverse effects of the coronavirus pandemic on the economy and threats of insecurity poses setback for education and economic activities in the nation. He noted that the economic summit should be a forum for stakeholders to share responsibility in tackling climate change and other challenges depleting economic growth.
Responsible for clearly understanding the past while planning, seeking appropriate solutions, and mapping out effective pathways to deal with multiple and complex matters that will arise in the future. It follows then that your appreciation and your correct interpretation of the critical issues, the trends and events that will influence socio-economic outcomes.
Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, urged state governments to implement developmental plans drafted at the summit and ensure its impact on Nigerians.
I want to urge the Honorable Commissioners of State and Planning in the states, the permanent secretaries and key stakeholders to join hands together to be able to work and implement the various development plans that we have put in place at the federal level and also at the state levels, and domesticate policies that have been made by the federal government that will enhance the economic performance of the states. We also need to work together to be able to consolidate all the work we are doing and ensure that we are having deliverables that are impactful, not just reports of labor, but have impact on the lives of the people so that we can contribute towards the aspiration of Mr. President of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty.
Meanwhile, Governor Umar Zulum said his administration will continue to improve security in the state for socio-economic activities to strive.
Nigeria was very good in Kalab. Somehow, let me say the fact, the bitter truth, but very weak in implementation. Whether we like it. Planning on very beautiful planning processes, considering we can conceive clearly, plan and design, but how much can we do? I have been in the region for the past 4 days, looking at what I am calling an increasing food insecurity and the risk of catastrophic food crisis, with an estimated 4.4 million people in need of urgent humanitarian assistance during this late season.
Delegates at the summit are expected to draft a framework plan that will serve as a roadmap in enhancing sustainable development across the country.
Now, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has warned of possible heavy rainfall and thunderstorm in some parts of the country over the next 3 days. The General Manager, Public Relations, Ibrahim Montari, issued the warning in a statement in Lagos on Friday. Montari explained that a 3-day forecast released by the Central Forecast Office observed that the thunderstorms are expected over parts of Sokoto, Zamfara, Kebbi, Adamawa, Taraba, Bauchi and Kaduna. According to him, other places are Jigawa, Gombe, Kano and Yobe states. He said parts of Niger, FCT and Nasarawa also had prospects of thunderstorm and intermittent rains. Montari said the agency therefore advised the public to exercise restraint and wait till after the rains to commute. He assured that NIMET will continue to monitor and update on any changes in the weather pattern. Now, a pediatrician, Dr. Rose Ame, says breastfeeding mothers with the COVID-19 virus can still breastfeed their babies because skin-to-skin contact are beneficial for both baby and mother. Ame told News Agency of Nigeria on Friday in Abuja that breastfeeding offers a variety of health benefits not only to an infant but also to a young mother. On whether breastfeeding mothers could get inoculated, Ame stated that evidence suggested that women who were breastfeeding can be offered a COVID-19 vaccine as part of the mass vaccination program. The European Union says the bloc has invested 26.2 billion euros in the 2021 EU Erasmus pre-departure orientation scholarship program for Nigerian master's degree aspirants. Alexander Gomez, the deputy head of delegation for the EU, said the program has been on for 34 years. He said this at the EU Erasmus pre-departure orientation scholarship program for the aspirants. According to him, no fewer than 531 Nigerians, including the 2021 batch, have benefited from the investment. Similarly, Esme Stuart, the focal person for Erasmus program of the EU delegation to Nigeria, said the participation of 133 and 134 candidates is a huge achievement for Nigeria this year.
For the number of students that are going this year from Nigeria, it's 100. I had in my brief 133, but people are saying 134. The more, the merrier. This can go up actually because of technical. Some people drop out or change their minds or whatever. This could go actually up. If I understood from the briefing correctly as well, the final figure would only be coming out in October. But in any case, it's a huge increase from last year, where the figure at a session like this last year, we would have said 93, I think it is, and in the end there was 100 people that went. So quite neatly, it's a 34% increase from 100 to 134.
Really happy to say that, again, Nigeria is the top one country of Erasmus students this year from Africa, and that really deserves an applause. And it's among the top 6 countries across the world. I can look it up. Together with Bangladesh, Brazil, India, Mexico, and Pakistan, Nigeria is up there with the top 6 countries of most Erasmus students.
Now, Count Disability Nigeria Coalition, a group of NGOs that has urged the federal government to implement the commitments made by Nigeria 3 years ago at the 2018 Global Disability Summit. Dr. Irene Patrick Ogbogu, convener of the Coalition of Organizations of Persons with Disabilities, said Nigeria made commitment to establish a verified disaggregated database for PWDs. Patrick Ogbogu said that in 2018, it was estimated that about 29 million out of 195 million population of Nigeria were PWDs. Going by the World Bank and World Health Organization disability prevalence rate of 15%, Olajide Funsho, co-convener of the coalition, said PWDs were neglected during the COVID-19 lockdown because government officials found it difficult to get the demography and disaggregated data of PWDs for distribution of palliatives.
Her capacity to provide high quality, timely and reliable data disaggregated by disability and other characteristics relevant in national context. The Count Disability Nigeria Coalition has recently developed a white paper on disability data in Nigeria in collaboration with other organizations of persons with disabilities, mainstream civil society organizations, and ministries, departments, and agencies as a strategic intervention to initiate the development of national policy and institutional frameworks for the collection and management of a disability database.
You realize that it is important for us to have disability disaggregated data before we can plan effectively for persons with disabilities. That is one. For robust implementation of programs being highlighted by government or even by various organizations, there is the need for us to have data. And at the same time, if we are going to evaluate the progress being made, either in the humanitarian sector, either in terms of education, either in terms of health, there is also going to be the need for us to have data. So whatever we are doing, there is the need for us to have data.
Now, the Pan-African Agency of the Great Green Wall has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to lead its council to facilitate easier access to about $5 billion in grants and $14 billion in loans to member countries. The Minister of Environment, Dr. Muhammad Abubakar, said the International Monetary Fund and European Union Bank have expressed support for the Great Green Wall program and will provide the loans and grants. Abubakar said 11 countries, namely Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Chad, Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Mali, Mauritania, Niger, Senegal, and Sudan made up the Pan-Great Green Wall support for Nigeria's presidency. The minister, while briefing journalists on developments in the environment sector, said Nigeria have been called upon to assume the position of Great Green Wall president and host the Council of Presidents of member countries.
On the 29th of July 2021, in Nouakchott, Mauritania, the Council of Ministers adopted the following. 1, that Nigeria host the 8th meeting of ministers, which is the next one in September. 2, that Nigeria host the 5th summit of heads of state and government, also which is to be done virtually in September. That His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari assumed the presidency of the heads of state and government of the Pan-African Great Green Wall at the end of the 5th summit again in September. That the Honorable Minister of Environment, Dr. Muhammad Mahmoud Abubakar, assumed the chairmanship of the Council of Ministers of the PAGGW on the same 5th during the summit. With the recent reconstitution of the Governing Council and the Board of Trustees of High Prep, as approved by Mr. President, we are gaining speed by pragmatically addressing other recommendations in the UNEP report, including provision of potable water to the communities.
You're watching Trust News Updates, and coming up after the break is the story of the original indigents of the FCT. Join us again for more.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the Trust TV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search Trust TV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
My name is Samuel Dada. Yakubu Isa, ana mana kabila jeje. Aminu Musa. A wannan harkar ce muke dan samun abinci, an muke taimaka mu wasu da yawa. Looking for private jobs. Sometimes you get employed and the process of payment, you undergo some kind of stress.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Trust TV News Update. And now let's have another look at some of our top stories. One officer has been killed as gunmen set Imo police station on fire. 3 of the gunmen were also killed in a gun duel with the police. Plus, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has warned of possible heavy rainfall and thunderstorm in some parts of the country over the next 3 days. Moving on now, following the discovery of Abuja by the Aguda panel in 1976, successive administrations have had running battles with the original inhabitants of Abuja on land seizures and compensation. Trust TV's correspondent Chijoke Okafo in this report seeks answers to the questions of justice and fairness for the indigenous people of Abuja.
1,769 square kilometers of land, 9 indigenous tribes, and 3.4 million people. The endless tussle between the original inhabitants of the Federal Capital Territory and successive federal governments has raged on for many decades. Issues of land grabbing, land swapping, and land racketeering have been at the core of this saga. Now, if the Constitution says that the Federal Capital Territory should be treated as if it is a state, and we all know that states have governors, the big question is, who governs the Federal Capital Territory? Pape community is one of Abuja's largest slum settlements, and it is densely populated with contradictions about its exact population. It lies on the foothills of the famous Pape Rocks that are easily sighted from the neighboring Maitama district and is approximately a 10-minute drive away from the city center. But there is a vast contrast between life in the heart of Abuja and this expansive shanty town of shacks with corrugated iron roofs and slums stacking to the horizon. With the recent eviction notice issued to residents of this small community by the FCT administration, their once normal lives are about to be hampered. This is just one out of the many cases of evictions and demolitions that have been eminent in the FCT for decades. We meet up with Pastor Danladi Jeji, National President, Abuja Original Inhabitants Development Association, to fully understand the crux of the matter and why the indigents have always felt marginalized for years. He explains.
This very terrible question you are asking has bedeviled the whole Nigerians, the legal system, the constitution, and the Nigerian political leaders, and those who are human in heart and who love humanity and right of people. Let me explain. The whole courts in Nigeria and ECOWAS court have ruled in the favor of the fact that FCT people in Nigeria to be justice and to operate, because you cannot rule and govern people unjustly. The laws and the courts have ruled that FCT by law is a state. All the paraphernalia of a state exists in the FCT. Therefore, Nigeria is having 37 states, not 36 states. Number two, the Constitution itself, Section 299, says the Federal Capital Territory will be treated as if it's a state. Now, which constitution in the whole world will treat where the capital of that place is, that it will be treated as a state and not a state?
Now, the Nigerian Labour Congress wants domestic gas supply for electricity generation to be below $1.50 per standard cubic feet. In an exclusive interview with Trust TV, the NLC also demanded that gas supply to electricity generation companies must and should be made payable in naira as against the dollar for domestic operations. The report. And the ninth largest globally, with an estimate of 200.79 trillion cubic feet, but domestic gas supply for electricity generation has been a nightmare for generating companies. With a total generating capacity of 13,000 megawatts, the country currently produces less than 6,000 megawatts owing to limitations from low gas supply to power plants. Despite government's reduction of domestic gas prices for electricity generation to $2.18 per standard cubic feet from $2.50, the Nigerian Labour Congress says the reduction falls far below expectation.
The government of Nigeria committed to the reduction of the gas, natural gas as feedstock for the generation stations, our generation companies. Committed to it. There's an agreement to that effect. From $2.50 to less than $1.50.
The NLC insists on the reduction of electricity tariffs to 15 naira per kilowatt hour by December 2021, as contained in an agreement with the government.
If you reduce the price of gas to a generation company, you reduce the price of gas, the price of electricity will crash. I just told you they are paying $2.50 for standard cubic feet, whereas other gas users are paying $1.50 or $1.70 or even less. Just crash it, just come back to what you are selling to other people, to the gencos, the tariff will crash.
Of the 28 electricity generation companies, only 3 are hydro, while others are gas-fired plants, making gas supply a major determinant in electricity generation for Nigerians. The Nigerian Labour Congress believes the price of domestic gas will significantly impact on electricity tariff. And the federal government began the implementation of its national livestock transformation plans with the inauguration of a model ranching hub project in Awe local government area of Nasarawa State. Inaugurating the pilot project in Awe, President Muhammadu Buhari said it will be replicated in other states that have indicated interest, represented by the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Sabo Nanono. The president said that the NLTP was deliberately initiated by his administration to develop the livestock subsector, which had yet to be given proper attention. And now on the foreign scene, Tanzania's opposition leader, Freedom Mbowe, appeared in court on Friday on terrorism charges that his supporters have denounced a politically motivated move to silence dissent. It was the first time Mbowe was seen in public since his arrest, along with other members of his Chadema party on July 21st, just hours before they were to hold a public forum on constitutional reform. Security was tight to prevent a repeat of a demonstration by his supporters outside the court on Thursday that was broken up by riot police. But Chadema said 11 members of the party were arrested when they turned up to the court on Friday. The case against him was adjourned until August 13. The World Health Organization said weekly deaths from COVID-19 in Africa reached a record peak in the week that ended on August 1. Stephanie Dujarric, spokesman for the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, disclosed this in a briefing to correspondents at the UN headquarters in New York on COVID-19 situation in Africa. UN correspondent of the news agency of Nigeria quoted Dujarric as saying that more than 6,400 deaths were recorded in the week, marking the highest 7-day toll since the onset of the pandemic on the continent. And now in sports news, Barcelona fans stormed the club's training ground on Friday morning after the Catalan club announced that Lionel Messi is leaving. The fans targeted Antonio Griezmann with their abuse as they drove into the facility. Barca announced on Thursday that negotiations with the Messi have broken down and he will be leaving this summer. Daily Trust correspondent Abdulaziz Ibrahim gives us an update on his transfer move.
Yes, of course, it's unfortunate to see that Barcelona fans are taking out the anger on poor Antoine Griezmann. Well, this was expected, of course, being that Antoine Griezmann is the second highest earner in Barcelona. To the fans, they feel that sacrificing Antoine Griezmann at a time when the club has financial troubles or there's talk about the salary mass being too much for the club to handle, sacrificing Antoine Griezmann, of course, in lieu of Lionel Messi would have been the way out for the fans. However, the club president, Joan Laporta, listening to him earlier today, he said, of course, that the La Liga, that is the organizers of the La Liga, of course, are to blame for the situation where the club cannot actually keep Lionel Messi if they want to abide by the UEFA financial fair play rules.
And that brings us to the end of Trust News Update. For latest updates, click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and follow us on all social media handles. I am Ayubelia. Thank you for watching.